Welcome back. You join us as we begin week 2 of the Pro Power preview races right here on CADEsport. Week 2 is what continues to be an entirely entertaining 4-week series of races. I'm Mark, and I'm here with...
It's Beth. How are you? Nice to see you, Mark. Yep, I was literally just setting down, taking the CADEsport highlight notes that I did fresh off the printer so that I can talk a little bit more about today's race with a little bit more of an insider perspective. Last week I came in and was just seeing all the new stuff and getting myself together. So thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Cade Fondo, week 2, Tuesday, 20 kilometers. What are we looking at on course today?
So today you're joining us as we go into a new course. So we're leaving Cyclogent City behind. It's in our rear view mirror, if you will. It's a 20 kilometer course or a 12.4 mile course. It's largely void of the real tight crit style chicanes that we saw last week, but we have instead wide sweeping gentle curves as we go through a course that is actually quite reminiscent of the towns either in the foothills of or the peaks of the Dolomites, which is of course the mecca for road cyclists. So as we get into this beach resort that you see on screen, as we pass the beach resort and into the industrial area, that's when we will know that we're halfway through the course, so 10 kilometers in. And as we get further down the course towards a walled area that rises above a beautiful scenery overlooking the ocean, we will know that we're in kind of the final third, if you will. And riders will really want to pay attention when they get into the tunnels that carve their way through the mountains, because that is an area where we will hit obstacles. And of course, this is a good time to look at the physical equalization system that powers Pro Power mode in CADEsport. So while we're not really looking too much at steering today, riders can use steering for better control, especially when they get to those tunnels that I just mentioned. They can do that either through a button prompt control in-game, a la gaming, or they can use a mount on their handlebars and use the app that you can see on screen there, which works with the gyroscope of the phone as demonstrated.
Yeah, that's a really great addition. Yeah, jump right into it. That gyroscope is new since the last I've been in game, and being able to turn that way is super convenient and important. So we've got about 30 seconds to the gate drop, Mark. Who's in the pen today?
Let's take a look.
All right. Well, we have some of the racers out here on course that we've seen over the last week and a half. You can go down the list there. You can see the riders list on the right-hand side. People are warming up. Now we're all at the gate. In 5 seconds, it goes down. 3, 2, and they are off. We did talk a little bit about the course, Mark, but today's difficulty is set to low, and that is because we don't have technical corners, as you mentioned earlier, and we don't have any power-ups. So we're really talking about efficiency, lane position, skill, drafting, using your power, and maybe we might even see some attacks here on course.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm actually curious if everything is going okay in the race here, because I'm seeing a lot of bots populating the screen. Certainly I'm seeing a lot of the riders who were familiar to us last week. We've got Carl Axel returning.
Wonderful. And I'm sure that we also have Timothy Tremont in the mix. I'm sure we have Ben, who last week just took it away on Thursday after strategically using his power-ups. And I'm wondering too, one thing about CADEsport is they do have the opportunity to put these additional riders in to change the game dynamics a little bit, right? So if you do have some bots out on course, it's just another rider that you have to work around. So you need to be even more strategic. Can you use them? Like, what power are they generating? And I guess sucking the wheel of a bot wouldn't irritate someone as sucking one of your competition, I imagine.
Yeah, that's the fantastic thing. And the great thing with this is we actually get programmable bots in game, which I believe that the riders can program if you're looking to train, for example. So you can set like a wattage and you can follow that wheel and try to beat them. You can also get the standardized bots just to populate the race and the course. So you can also just provide whatever challenge and draft benefits you really want to get.
Yeah, and so we've got like Dean, we've got Nicole. These are some actual riders, or are these? So I can see a rider on the lower left-hand screen. Now that camera is worth saying that's coming from in the game, which is a really cool feature of CADEsport, is that you're able to stream into the game. We can pull it into the broadcast, and we can see those efforts being real. And as you said, with Pro Power, everything is equalized, but they are needing to put their real effort into it. You can see, I believe, there on camera in the CADEsport. Yep, there he goes, leans over. I'm not sure if he's listening to us today, but you can see that the rider's maybe working on some mechanical issue. We got Timothy Tremont with a nice red background. I learned that last week. Really focused rider, very strong rider. You're noticing on the right-hand side, you can see the equalized power, you can see the equalized heart rate, and all of these riders are competing physically today. There are other ways to play CADEsport that we can talk about, because it does have the realistic physics, and they're using the companion app that we showed earlier to change the lanes, but you can also play on keyboard. But today's a physical race. We are going down through the farmland. Timothy looking strong and focused.
Timothy is always a very powerful rider.
He is. I didn't mean to step on you there, Mark. This is a pretty flat course too, so we don't really have any hills. So I'm wondering what we're going to see when we might actually see some of those attacks.
Yeah, I'm hoping we see some real solid attacks, and tactics here are going to be wildly different to what we saw on the previous course. On the previous course, we were seeing tactics, or the availability for tactics to be used similar to criterium races. So stuff like maybe dive bombing on tight corners. You also had the availability of maybe if you were in a larger team looking at forcing an echelon to form. But things are going to be different here. This is going to be looking at raw power, at raw speed, and at really pushing that along.
Well, that's a good looking shot right there. Homer Thompson there on the front of the peloton. Kay Thompson right behind them. Homer didn't give me an impossible name to pronounce. That was a really fun trick to play on me when I came back my first day. But Homer is an incredible rider to ride with, and he just has this like beast mode thing where he'll ride the front. He gets strategic, but you know what? I feel like he's just riding his race, and he's got Kay on his wheel. I've done a lot of group rides with Kay and Homer. Lovely couple, and they're working together here. So it'll be interesting to see the folks behind him benefiting. We've got Frank back there. We've got Emma back there. We've got Christian and Carl Axelzander. So this is a nice little group here, and we'll see if they trade off the front. And of course, you can see that Kay. Oh, it looks like Kay is taking a turn on the front, swapping there with Homer, saying, okay, nope, my turn, my friend. Matching kits. One of the things, too, is that there is a large selection of kits in the game. I love this helicopter shot, especially when we go over bridges. Thanks, Damon. Good call there. They are, large section of kits available for everyone, but some kits need to be earned, such as the iconic green CVR World Cup kit. And then, if you are on a team or in a group, you can have your own kit and then also grant access to others when they do join your team. So I do know that Team Velocity in the previous iteration had a kit in there, and our teammates used those. And hopefully we'll see more teams forming and coming out. But looks like there might be some informal alliances here happening with Frank and Christian there on the back of the peloton saying, no, we'll just stay here. We'll use the wheels ahead of us. They might want to move up and get a slightly better position, though. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, and again, this is interesting. Obviously, trying to force an echelon isn't going to work on this course as much as a real tight chicane-style course. But really what we're seeing is the physical equalization system that powers the Pro Power mode in-game really in its own today. Homer was lower down the race last time. In fact, he was in the final position. And so the way Pro Power works is it essentially crunches the numbers in this very clever algorithm of the baseline, or maybe even the sweet spot that riders are putting in, and equalizes that up to the level of a pro cyclist. So therefore people can ride together. But if you really want to win, you're going to have to really push above that and push beyond your 100% threshold. And really that can change the game. It means it's anybody's game. So now we're seeing Homer in the lead. So this changes everything. So it's different to normal riding. It's different to other virtual cycling platforms in the sense that if you really want it, you're going to have to push for it. So that mental aspect comes in more.
And here we are on board with Vibeke. Vibeke is one of the staples here in CADEsport, and she's been riding for the whole time when this has been in alpha and in development, and she really knows her stuff. You can see here she's riding with her teammate. She's holding onto the wheel. They're working together. Team Hive coming around that rider there. That rider says, "Thank you very much. I'll let you two do the work," and hopefully they switch over. They're changing lanes. Going, let's shake them. Let's just wag the flies off the tail there. You know, when a horse is in a field and it just kind of swats the flies behind them. That's what it looks like Vibeke and Tim were doing there. Now back on the front group here, you can see a lot of those I called them CADE emojis last week, but they are just emojis that riders can give to each other in the game, and it's not just like, hey, yeah, here's a thumbs up, great job, but the laughing, the crying, all of those things. And when I see this group form up, I think, okay, all right, well, who is going to slingshot off the front? Like, who has a good sprint? Who has these are the questions as a rider that I'm going to be asking. I don't want to be doing too much work at the front of the peloton, especially if I know I've got a sprinter behind me. I'm going to make that sprinter come around and take a pull, because I want them to be a little bit tired at the end of this 20-kilometer ride, especially if I don't have a power up to try to help me in my advantage. I'm not really a sprinter. I mean, I'm more of an all-arounder, but I think that those are the things that you start to learn with these riders is who's good at what do you expect to do? And I would be all kinds of nervous about Frank on my tail drafting me and whipping around on a sprint, because that's one person who can sprint. And here's Timothy now. Without the technical things on course with Timothy. Hey man, how are you? So good to see you. Without the technical things on course, I love wave. Oh, I wish I could hug him. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, I have trash talked Timothy when he's my adversary, but we love each other, and this is what it's all about. It's about fun, camaraderie, competition, and as Tim would say, winning. We want to win, Team Hive. So it's really great to see the riders out here on course. So he's right now taking a drink, chilling back, maybe texting his teammate, kind of coming up with what they're going to do next, sucking the wheel of so-and-so in front of them. Right now, I don't have my glasses on, so I couldn't see whose wheel they were sucking, but they better watch out there. All right, back here with this other group. What are we seeing here now? We're coming through the city. So this is where you were saying, is this our halfway point, Mark?
We're getting close to the halfway point. So as we get to the end of this seaside resort, if you will, that's when we know we're about halfway through. So riders are getting close to about 10 kilometers in. And really what we're seeing here, it's fantastic. We had this in the last race as well. It was a whole peloton that really fought to the last. It was only really when Carl Axel in the last race really pushed on it in this almost like Cancellara style, real powered push that he really broke that peloton apart. Esme is really putting in a killer performance as well. Esme has been lower down in the ranks before, but is really wanting to take that first place position. Homer isn't wanting to let go of it, however.
No, Homer has the most amazing grit. I think a year or so ago, my memory could be wrong, but like I think he cycles like 20,000 miles a year, and I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not. No, that's who that is. I'll do back-to-back, centuries on a weekend, and so he has got an engine that is enviable, and then he's got the determination to match. And that Kay is his teammate and his teammate in life, and the two of them are such a formidable he started on the platform, he brought Kay in, and Kay is really, I love to see her in this peloton. Frank, Christian in there, Vibeke, Timothy, all a little bit further back, but it will be interesting to see who saved what and how they really did save and efficient and words, please come out of my mouth. Say the efficiency and how they work out. Now these folks here should really group up and work together to try to shut down some of the gap here. We're with Ethan 11 out of 39. You can see that in the right hand side of the screen, if the rider is in yellow, that's who we're on board with. That's how you can tell what rider we're watching, in addition to the little labels that are happening. There you go, close that gap and tuck right in, a little bump, fold in. That's a skill right there. I remember spending lots of hours. I did program some rides with a bot to just practice that sliding into the draft, because you punch the power, you try to close down the gap, and then you lose some of that if you bump the wheel. All right, coming back to the helicopter camera here with the lead peloton here. Homer on the front. And you can see the relative heart rate rates here. So let's talk a little bit about those heart rates, Mark. This is an equalized heart rate. So, apples to apples, if my max heart rate's 170 and yours is 195, we're both going to have the same number if we're at our max heart rate. So we're really getting educated here on what the riders are feeling.
Yeah, that's right. And I believe when you see 205, that's when a rider doesn't have a heart rate monitor attached. So don't worry, Homer's okay. He's not going to go into cardiac arrest. But
I was going to say, he's been pushing it for quite a while. He's been pushing it for quite a while.
But we are certainly seeing Esme really pushing that heart rate, really going for that top end.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that, again, your fitness improves and the game, the physics and all of these equalization, the pro power, all of these things are really fascinating. But at the end of the day, it's just like real life in the sense that every time you think you're better, you're really not. You just it's like you don't get faster, you get stronger, or you get faster. What's that cycling adage? Help me out, Mark. I'm stumbling on it. You don't get...
you don't get faster, you just get more powerful?
Stronger. Yeah, it never gets easy. It's never easy. You just get stronger. So I like that. Gosh, that was a struggle. All right, well, we'll see. We'll have to have some more coffee over here next time before the broadcast so that I can come up with my cliches a little bit faster. This is a great shot here. You can see them kind of coming around the water's edge, coming through. They've really done a lot of nice work with the visuals on the game. It's just nice to see another course, another bunch here. We've got Iran here. Did I say that? Erhan on camera here. Erhan was also, was he in the last race? How's he doing in the standings? Hi, nice to meet you. You're doing awesome.
Good to see you, Erhan. It was fantastic. Erhan put in an incredible effort on the last race. It looked like he had just about snagged the third place position, maybe about 50 meters from the finish line, when suddenly Luca from Italy just put in this powerhouse effort. He must have been in the drops, pushed out of the saddle. So it's really sad to see that Erhan has had what looks to be like a mechanical issue right off the start here, which has dropped him back a little bit. But he is hoping that he can really put in some power and really close up some time here.
Yeah, and I think that that's sort of the thing you have to roll with. Just like when you're, if you're in a non-virtual environment in the, quote, real world. I mean, right now we're in the real world. Just because we're playing CADEsport doesn't mean we're not in the real world. But when we're in the real world out there, mechanicals happen. It just can happen. I mean, I've tripped over over my cord, hopping onto my trainer, and disconnected the USB, and it's essentially a flat tire. And so, there's a lot of pre-checks that go in for these riders to sort of be game ready, to be race ready. And, that comes with time and experience. So just these riders that here are grouped at the front are very experienced in game. They're experienced with their trainers. Their pain caves are set up ergonomically to be able to reach the things they need to reach. And here we go back into the little tunnel again. I love the shadows, the lights. I think that the graphics are looking really nice. Again, I haven't seen all the new maps, and I'm loving it. All right, so probably maybe 5K left, you think? 4K?
I think at this point we're about 7 kilometers left. So this is when we're coming around the big wide sweeping turn at the top of the map, coming back south. And certainly we're seeing Esme really not want to give up that effort, which is fantastic to see.
I love it. Kay out there in front. And, I know that since the last I've been around that the teams have changed up a lot. But what is the team name currently for Homer and Kay in those yellow kits? They have a team name. Should we make one up, Mark? Let's make one up if they don't have one.
I thought they were on the CADEsport team, actually.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll call them Team Awesome because they're in yellow. Because we've got a different kit on Frank and a different kit on Christian. So I'm going by the kits here. If you're in a different kit, you're on a different team. There we go. Nice work, Esma, taking the lead here. She's trying to maybe test her legs out, kind of add a little power just to see what she's got. She's been sitting in for a while, sitting in solid. And I don't know about you, Mark, but sometimes when I'm sitting in, depending on the group I'm with, sometimes sitting in doesn't feel like sitting in at all. Sometimes you just want to go on the front and control the pace a little bit. So I'm not sure what she's doing here. I don't know her well enough, but she is on the front. Maybe she's trying to control the pace to save her legs for a big finish.
Yeah, and certainly when I've been in races like this on various virtual platforms, certainly when you feel like you're in the pack, if you feel like you've lost a position in the pack, even though you're still right there and right at the front, it can feel weirdly disheartening. So there's this, I can certainly feel as I'm watching this, I can feel the tenseness of the competition in me as I felt it when I've been racing myself.
I know, I have, I don't want to say flashbacks, but I mean it in the most loving sense. I have flashbacks of wiping out and trying my best to just bury myself to catch up to a peloton after a crash, and then barely being able to hold on to the power that they're putting down, or worse, crash again because I'm so amped up with the heart rate. So if you can stick with the group, it's better to stick with the group than to try to be chasing down the group, especially with these realistic game dynamics and the speed that the peloton gains when there's a group.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just saw Christian Wiedmann, who won the first race, making a solid push for the front. He's lost some momentum there and dropped back in the peloton a little bit. But certainly he's proven that he is a repeat contender.
Yeah, we've also got Seb in here. We haven't talked about him, but Seb, on the race I did on Thursday, he was, I think he came in second behind Ben. So Seb's here right in the thick of it. So in terms of the standings for this 4-week league run, I think he's looking pretty good. Yeah,
very solid. And it's good to see a contender from Germany come and threaten the order, if you will.
And here's a little bit about our friend Kay, and she's Team CCC. There we go. All right. And that is an acronym that originated way back in the day, in the previous iteration of the game. But it's good to see that they're still doing it. And her ride purpose, health, recreation, and charity. She's a gem, and she's such a badass. Oh, can I say ASS here? I can, right? I can say that. It's a family sport, but badass is what she is. So I just have to own it, and she does too. But so here we are. You can see Seb there. We've got Esma. We've got Christian, and then it looks like Frank might be back a little bit. Looks like am I reading that right? Is he back, or is he still in this group here? Yeah.
So Frank it looks like he's actually 3 minutes behind where we are.
Yep, he did.
If I'm seeing that correctly.
Yep. So, and I thought at one point he was in this group, so maybe he had a technical or a mechanical issue. But if I was anyone in this group, looks like they're stretching it out a little bit. Kind of Seb is like saying, okay, let me see. I know that's not a full attack because they're going to close that up with the riders behind it, but he's starting to put that power down, saying like, okay, all right, my legs are awake, waking them up. Esma says, okay. But I would be glad that Frank was a little bit behind me if he had been drafting that massive pole that Homer and Kay were trading off the front. Esma's tucked back in. She took a little part on the front here, and we'll see. All right, and here's Team CCC. Homer Thompson. A little bit about Homer. Just again another seasoned professional here in the Cade land, and I don't know. I haven't seen him on camera, but he had grown his hair really long. I don't know. That was definitely on. He was ahead of the trend. He had the long hair growing pre-COVID when everyone else grew out their hair. But it's quite a sight to see. And again, in game, the riders can talk to each other. They can give each other, communication. They have communication channels, but they can also give each other a pat on the back. With the emojis in the game. Cade emojis is what I'm just sticking with it until someone says I can't call them that. But yeah, no, here we are. Like, we are coming back through the countryside, looping back around, and I feel like Kay and Homer are making a move up there.
Yeah, they are breaking apart that peloton. They've perhaps heard us on our commentary and decided that's a tactic to go for, is to try and break that peloton and soften the power of other riders. And so CCC, just to add this in quickly, does stand for cool, calm, and collected. And I just got word here that apparently when we see 205, that means it's the highest heart rate the game or the race at the time has recorded. So it maxes out at 205. So that means Homer is really putting some intense power into those cranks.
Yeah, and it looks like Seb was not going to be left behind. That is something too that if I was thinking about who my competition is in the field, I would say that Seb is well matched with the determination of both Kay and Homer, because he was not letting go of that. Esma dropped back a little bit here. She kind of probably made a decision. She saw, Homer and Kay and Seb leading to the front. If she couldn't hang on, maybe, she's going to kind of come in on that fifth place, but she's only got Christian 3 or 4 seconds ahead. So there is a chance for her to overtake him. It looks like she is putting down a little bit more power to try to close that gap, but awfully tough to do with just not enough runway on the course for that 3 or 4 seconds. The person who does those math calculations for me is Frank. Frank will tell me how many seconds I need to close a gap with a differential, especially when my heart rate's high. But riders know themselves, they learn about each other, and they're able to make those calculations about, okay, am I racing on Thursday? What do I have to save on my legs? Am I going to take what I'm going to take today, or is this going to be the day? I think Seb's saying, nope, it's going to be me. Look at him. Seb's making the move to the finish. He puts down the power under the thing, across the bridge. Homer hops on. Kay hops on right behind him. Can he hold it to the end? And he does. Oh, Seb brilliantly played the finish, with Kay and Homer taking second and third. What a finish. Nice work for Seb. Nice work, Kay and Homer, who held the front most of the time during that peloton. We've got Esma coming across the line and Christian also across the line here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the live results on screen that you see still out on course. We've got Vibeke, we've got out there, we've got Carl Axel, we've got Frank is still out there, Renee and Vanessa. We've got a number of riders still out on course. Now, the thing is that when you know you're playing for points and you're in the standing, you know, you've got to like also play your strengths. And one of the things that CADEsport is really good when they do their races is they have a low technical difficulty one. They have a high technical difficulty. So it really allows them to give diverse courses that play to different rider strengths. And I think what we saw today is the engines and power won the day. And what we saw on last week on Thursday on the race I commentated was, you know, tactics, you know, a lot of tactics and strategy. So, Mark?
Yeah, and like I say, the change in course where we lose those real tight hairpins that you would see in criterium races, that really changes everything up. Tactics that were in play last week were not really overly helpful today. Like we saw the team here with Vibeke and Timothy, they attempted to do some draft benefit tactics and it had some advantage, but it didn't help as much as it would in a race where we're cornering. And so certainly that plays up things very differently, and that shows how course differences can really change everything.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that when, you know, we've got Carl Axel here getting ready to come across the line. And, you know, you do make some strategic decisions. You know, I think that when you're not in the front group and you know you're not going to close it down, you know, I wonder if Vibeke and Timothy were, you know, just experimenting with some things they might try on Thursday. You know, I mean, that's another thing. Nice job, Carl Axel, even though your avatar scratched its head or shucky darn, but I don't know how you'd translate that. I know that we have listeners and riders who might not have shucky darn in their translator app, but we are looking.
We're cutting to a warm down in a second here. So we begin in this course in the Cape Fondo, but I believe we actually have a warm down that follows in one of the sci-fi courses.
Oh, awesome. I haven't seen the most recent sci-fi. Look at some cheering out on course. Nice to see the fans on course here. And we are on board with, it looks like, Danny. My eyes are correct here. All right, so that was our broadcast. That was our race. You can see here the live results. Seb taking it away. Kay, Homer, Christian, Esma, Vibeke, Timothy, Carl Axel, and Erhan, if I said that correctly. And yeah, so my goodness, these are the live results for the course. Do we have the results for the series on hand, or do we wait till Thursday to see that?
I'm not sure we'll read the overall results, but
all right,
I know
that's
for
okay.
Sure, yeah, Seb, who has actually been quite a way down the table as we've gone through the races, really showed what he's made of today. And again, a great example of how the Pro Power mode can just change everything on any given race, how it can open up the game for any rider on course. And yeah, I've never seen a weak rider from Germany, always very powerful riders. So Seb has kept that tradition going for Germany.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So as we wrap things up today, we've got more racing ahead this week. We've got races on Thursday. We've got races on Saturday. And this is just going to be more excitement. Do we know the courses yet, or are we doing like the surprise reveal for the race on Thursday?
So for Thursday, it'll be the same course as today. So again, riders will have another opportunity to steal the pole position for the Cape Fondo.
Awesome. All right, so maybe there's some learning out on course, and we'll have to see what the riders bring on Thursday. Maybe we'll have a different field. Maybe we'll have some more teammates. And what I anticipate seeing some team tactics from Vibeke and Timothy, because they were a little quiet in this race, and maybe that was their plan.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they were scoping out the course, ready for giving us a full assault on Thursday.
Well, we'll have to check that, and I hope everyone who's watching today can tune in and see that. And who says tune in anymore? This is live streaming. I hope that you can join us on Thursday and, of course, on Saturday. For CADEsport, I'm Beth York, and I'm honored and privileged to be here today. And Mark, back to you.
Yeah, my name's Mark Allardwell, and it's been, again, a privilege to be here with you, and we hope to see you Thursday.
Take care, everyone.